Hello guys, today we're gonna tell you about the Myanmar economy and politics done by Karina, Zhang&Tolgonai, Djeksimbekova. So the Myanmar, officially the Republic of the Union of Myanmar and also known as Burma, is a sovereign state located in the Southeast Asian region. Myanmar is bordered by India and Bangladesh to its west, Thailand and Laos to its east, and China to its north and northeast. Its capital city is Naypyidaw, and its largest city and former capital is Yangon, also called as Rangoon. Myanmar has been a member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN) since 1997. The early 19th century Kongbang dynasty ruled over an area that included modern Myanmar and briefly controlled Manipur and Assam as well. The British took over the administration of Myanmar, and after three Anglo-Burmese wars in the 19th century, and the country became a British colony. Myanmar was granted independence in 1948 as a democratic nation. Following a coup d'etat in 1962, it became a military dictatorship. For the most of its independent years, the country has been engrossed in rampant ethnic strife, and its myriad ethnic groups have been involved in one of the world's longest-running ongoing civil wars. During this time, the United Nations and several other organizations have reported consistent and systematic human rights violations in the country. In 2011, the military junta was officially dissolved following 2010 general elections, and nominally civilian government was installed. This, along with the release of Aung San Suu Kyi and political prisoners, has improved the country's human rights record and foreign relations, and has led to the easing of trade and other economic sanctions. There is, however, continuing criticism of the government's treatment of ethnic minorities, its response to the ethnic insurgency and religious clashes. In the landmark 2015 election, Aung San Suu Kyi's party won a majority in both houses. However, the Burmese military remains a powerful force in politics. Myanmar is a country rich in jade and gems, oil, natural gas, and other mineral resources. In 2013, its nominal GDP, stood at $56.7 billion, and its GDP or PPP at $221.5 billion US dollars. The income gap in Myanmar is among the widest in the world, as a large proportion of the economy is controlled by supporters of the former military government. As of 2016, Myanmar ranks 145 45 out of 188 countries in human development, so according to the Human Development Index. And now a little bit about the politics and economy. So let's start from the politics. Myanmar, formerly called Burma, was a monarchy ruled by various dynasties prior to the 19th century. The British colonized Burma, Myanmar, in the late of 19th century, and it was part of the British India until 1937. From the time of the signing of the Burmese constitution in 1948, ethnic minorities Muslims, Hindus, Christians, and Buddhists all live in Burma. These religious differences have led to several incidents that have affected hundreds of thousands of citizens that live in Burma. Until recently, Myanmar, ruled by the military junta, was considered an outcast country in the West. However, after there were a number of democratic reforms, the first elections were held in 20 years and political prisoners were released. This state was in the focus of attention of major world players. If in the past almost the only partner of the Naypyidaw was Beijing, now after the lifting of sanctions, companies from the United States and the European Union joined the struggle for the wills of Myanmar, and India wants to establish close relations with the former dictatorship. About who and why it bursting into Naypida's best friends, read in an article prepared by the Agency for Region Policy. One of the largest countries of ASEAN is Myanmar. Also, Burma until recently was considered one of the most neglected and promising. Here you can see in the picture 25th ASEAN Summit. It was in 12th of November 2014. So the country was dominated by a military dictatorship, and the world knew it primarily as a state where the well-known human rights defendant Aung San Suu Kyi was locked up at the scene of the Rainbow and as a faithful vassal of China, who, unlike the West, did not read Naypyidaw notes of the infringement of human rights. Chinese leaders called their relationship with the junta almost fraternal, but they were based not on kindred feelings, but on sober calculation. Burma as an ally is not just important, but of fundamental importance for the Chinese. So now we will talk about the economy of Myanmar. So Myanmar, also known as Burma, as I have said before, and is an emerging economy with a nominal GDP of 66.324 billion dollars in 2016 and an estimated purchasing power adjusted GDP of 334.85 billion dollars in 2016. So historically, Myanmar was the main trade route between India and China from the 100 BC. The Mon Kingdom in Lower Burma was an important commercial center in the Bay of Bengal. After the conquest of Myanmar by the British, it became the richest country in Southern Asia. In addition, it was the world's largest exporter of rice. It accounted for 75% of the world's teakwood production, and its population was characterized by a high level of literacy. After the formation of the parliamentary government in 1948, the Prime Minister U Nu started a policy of nationalism. The government also tried to implement an ill-conceived 8-year plan. By 1950, rice export fell by two-thirds, and export of mineral resources more than 1960%. The coup d'état of 1962 was followed by an economic scheme called the Myanmar Way to Socialism, a plan for the nationalism of all sectors. The program turned out to be a disaster for the Myanmar, turning it into one of the poorest countries in the world. The country consists of such international organizations as WTO, ASEAN, MIMSTEC, and in 2011, after the new president, Thein came to power, serious political reforms began in Myanmar, covering the fight against corruption, the exchange rate, the laws of foreign investment, and taxation. So foreign investments increased from $300 million in 2009 for 2010 up to $20 billion in 2010 and 2011. That is approximately by 6%. A large influx of capital led to the strengthening of the exchange rate of the Burmese currency kyat by about 25%. In response, the government imposed restrictions and abolished export taxes. Despite the exciting currency problems, in 2011 the Burmese economy is expected to grow by about 8.8%. After the completion of the $58 billion deepwater port projects in Tawa, Myanmar is expected to become a major transport hub linking Southeast Asia and the South China Sea, sought the Andaman Sea to the Indian Ocean, south which commodity flows from the Middle East, Europe, and Africa, which will contribute to economic growth in the Asian region.